Hello again, I'm Colin, MM0OPX, and this is just a short video to discuss some of the findings I found when linear loading, we'll call them quirks. So if you cast your mind back to a video or two ago I did when I was trying to set up phased verticals for the first time, and initially I thought there was interaction between the two antennas because the SWR dip was about 2 to 1 or just over 2 to 1. I then ruled it out that it was the antennas themselves because I put one down completely. It was just the same. No matter where I tried it in this location, I couldn't get a match. So I went home and I set up the antenna and it worked fine. So I thought, oh, there was something interacting at the other QTH there, but that's not the case. Because a couple of nights ago, I thought I would set up the verticals, the phased verticals in my garden. Now one of the antennas tuned in perfect, the second one didn't tune in, and I made the assumption that it was because of a nearby lamp post, but I've discovered that no, it wasn't because of that, it was because of the antenna itself. And I just want to talk about what I found. So if you're going to linear load an antenna, it's just what you need to keep an eye out for. So here we have the antenna and it's set up. Now, so previously setting up the Adjusted Wave Essential, I had it set up on a windjammer 5 meter pole. Now because it was on this 5 meter pole and because I was linear loading, I had to effectively linear load the wire completely. So up one side, across and down the other, and it was completely linear loaded, and it almost to here, so it was quite, it was close to the ground. It was 6 inches, 150 mil or so off the ground. Now that worked in a couple of locations. It worked in my garden in a certain location, and it also worked over salt water. Now where it worked over salt water, I was set up on a concrete base, so where this arm was sticking out, there was actually more than the 6 inch to the actual ground, and the same in my garden. So that got me thinking, what's going on here. So I can't tell you how frustrated I was. I just couldn't work it out why it worked and then why it didn't work. So I've come to a couple of conclusions, and I think I've finally got to the bottom of it. So as you can see, I'm no longer using this windjammer 5 meter pole. I'm now using this pole. Now this is a Life's a Breeze Pro pole, 6 meters. Now I can't tell you how impressed I am with this pole. The only pole that comes close to this, and I would say they're actually very close in terms of performance, build quality, wall thickness, etc., is the Spider Beam 12 meter pole. It's a thick pole. So I'm going to do a little roundup in another video. So I've got a few poles that I want to just do a bit of comparison of and tell you why I prefer this and the Spider Beam 12 meter the best. So anyway, getting back to the point there. So with linear loading, what I've discovered is, you can see the end of the wire here. So if you have the end of the wire and you actually have it down here, what you find is it throws out your match. And it's obviously something to do with the, I'm not a scientist, I can't explain the science of it, but it's obviously too close to the ground and it's causing some funny reactance. The resistance looks okay on the analyzer, but the reactance goes away. So I'm assuming it's affecting something that way. So really the long and short of it is, if you're going to linear load an antenna, you need to make sure that you're not linear loading it entirely. You need to have a gap, and I reckon you probably need to have at least, I don't know, it's hard to say, getting on for a meter maybe from the ground, and then you should be fine. So for 40 meters you would need a 7 meter pole. And for 80 meters, well, I've proven it with 80 meters on the 12 meter Spider Beam pole, minus the top section, it works fine. So let's look at the analyzer and I'll show you the dip, and it's looking good. So there's 7.1, centre of the band. And now you can see we're below 1.5 to 1, and right across the band we are well below the 2 to 1, so ideal. And if we look at the complex components, so 1.42 at the dip, so that's perfect. Now if you look at the resistance, this 38.2, now a standard quarter wave vertical shouldn't be, ground mounted vertical shouldn't be 50 ohms, it should be around about 37 ohms. And as I understand it, if you have a higher resistance than that, say 50 ohms, then you've got, you know, 15 ohms of ground losses. So I think this antenna is pretty efficient, going by that that value there. And as you can see, the X there, 9.9. Well, that's okay. So I think we're at a point now where I'm happy. So I took the chance to do this experiment today. So you'll see from my other video that I was testing the phase verticals using the spider beam poles, and it worked good, so I'm quite happy with that. So I'm now going to invest in another one of these poles, these 6 meter Life's a Breeze Pro pole, because the wind that we're getting here is really strong, and this is hardly budging at all, and it's only guide at the bottom. So I can only, you know, say good things about this pole so far. You can see I've only got the unit budged on it a minute there. I don't have the right size clamps for this, I think, so I'll need to order 35 or whatever size clamps that they are. But the holes are on the adjust wave unit to allow for the correct size clamps. So that's it. I just wanted to share that with you and some of the quirks I've found with linear loading. So if you're going to do it, make sure you get a longer pole than you think you need, and you can keep the end of the radiator a decent bit up off the ground. In fact, what we'll do is we'll extend the antenna, and I'll just show you what I was talking about. So what I've actually done is I've just fully linear loaded the antenna, and you can see that the little red join there, you can see that's actually right quite close to the ground. So see when we run a sweep. So the antenna, the dip for resonance is now way down at 6.2 megahertz there. But look at the dip. So the dip is just below the 2 to 1, and this is what I was experiencing on the 5 meter windjammer pole there. So I wouldn't, it's just not quite acceptable. And if you look at I mean, you probably could get away with it. I mean, you put a tuner on that and it would be okay, yeah. Obviously we're not within band here, but if you look at the complex components again, you can see that the resistance has dropped somewhat, and the X has gotten slightly more. So, and it's the SWR has gotten a little bit higher. So that's gonna prove the point. So again, if you want to linear load, make sure the end of the wire is up a bit from the ground, because it is the ground that's affecting it. I would say anyway. If you've got any comments, please put them in the comments below. And once again, if you like my stuff, please hit the subscribe button. It really gives me a boost. And if you like or dislike the video, please, hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs down. It's all good. Okay, 73 for now.